Thank you, Mike. And I would ask you to turn your mobile devices to silent, please. We'll start over the Egyptian TV.
Thank you very much, Magdi Youssef from 9 News, the Egyptian television. In the beginning of the operation, there were some figures saying that NATO did manage in a few days to break down over 40% from Gaddafi military, and then after a few days, we get some more figures that more than half of the military capacity of Gaddafi. So if you can tell us after months which figures now we did arrive to. And the second, they were talking about humanitarian aid to the people in Libya. Do the people live in the capital need also some aid, or they are living in paradise? Thank you.
Well, if I take the second part first, I don't think anybody in Libya is living in paradise. I think, it's a very complex environment, and the people of Libya have been put under tremendous strain whilst the regime has pounded them in Benghazi originally, and then in Misrata, and while they've been suppressed in the western parts of the country. Humanitarian aid is essential in the country while it's under this sort of distress, and also we know that a large amount of the food that the Libyan people live off is normally imported. And we see that that delivery of food, not under humanitarian aid, but under delivery of wheat and flour, happening into Tripoli and across the ports of Libya on a daily basis. So I think that's the first question. The second one is to do with metrics. I've certainly made it clear throughout my tenure that this isn't about metrics. It's not about statistics of how many tanks or how many facilities have been taken out. The metric I have given you already is that approximately 3,000 targets have been removed. I think what's important is, while there's one single tank that can fire its armament into the city or town of Misrata or any other area of Libya, then there are targets to be hit. Then there is still a risk to civilian lives. So it wouldn't matter if I said to you 99% had been taken out. There's still a percentage that could be used. So I don't think metrics are relevant in this debate at all, and that is why we've avoided talking to you in that form of attrition. So I believe we should stick to that. It's the correct way of reporting. This is an effects-based operation, and the effect we're trying to achieve is the United Nations mandate in both parts of the sea and the air, and the protection of the civilian population. And that effect we have achieved, and we are going to maintain. Thank you.
James?
Yes, Brooks Singer, Jane's Defense. With all due respect to my colleague, you just spent 10 minutes reciting metrics to us, so I think his question about metrics is relevant. My two questions are the following. One, you said morale among Gaddafi's forces has plummeted. I find that to be a rather sweeping statement. I would like you to give us some evidence to back up that assertion. What evidence do you have there that military forces of Gaddafi have plummeted? And secondly, very simple question, a metrical one if you like. Ramadan starts on August 1st. Does NATO intend to continue bombing on the start of Ramadan and thereafter? Yes or no? Thank you.
Okay, I'll take the first one first, which is the morale of the forces. We've seen a number of defections occur over the last month. We've also seen political defections, and that's a clear indicator of morale. We've also seen developments on the ground from using the ISR facilities that we have, that whilst the initial layer of forces may wish to step back from the fight and to turn and retract, as in regime forces, we see there's a layer behind them that ceases that action coming forward. And I would say that that is also where we can see the morale of the issue coming forward. We don't have people on the ground, so we can't give you the exact names and exact locations of this, but we have clear reporting, some through open source, some through other means, that we fuse together, and that is the assessment that we have made and we wish to share with you today. Your second question was with regard to Ramadan. Of course, this is very clear to us. The effect of Ramadan is we need to wait and see whether the Gaddafi forces continue to shell and inflict harm on the people of Libya. If they do, and we believe that there is risk to the lives of the Libyan people, to the men, women and children could be slaughtered or attacked, then I think it would be highly appropriate for the protection of those lives to continue. And NATO would use the mandate that it has to protect those lives. Oana, would you like to add anything on that subject?
Well, clearly, Brooks, as you know, the mandate of the mission that NATO and our partners are conducting is the protection of civilians under United Nations Security Council Resolution 1973. And it is hoped that the Gaddafi forces will stop attacking and threatening to attack civilians, not just for Ramadan, but immediately. One of the 3 clear military objectives that NATO allies and partners have set is an end to all attacks against civilians, the withdrawal of all regime forces to bases, and full and unhindered humanitarian access. So until now, unfortunately, Gaddafi's regime has shown a shocking disregard for human life. We have seen the Gaddafi regime forces using civilian populated areas as human shields, using mosques to fire against residential areas. So as long as those attacks and those threats continue to be there, NATO's mission is to protect civilians in Libya.
Mon dernier Emery, la télévision Hayat. J'ai 2 questions. La première question qui me préoccupe, c'est concernant les révolutionnaires libyens. Il est vrai que l'OTAN fait des succès au niveau des attaques aériennes, mais sur le terrain, les révolutionnaires ils ont un manque d'expérience énorme et ils ont un manque aussi d'armes. Alors ma question, est-ce que l'OTAN envisage-t-il pour le futur d'armer ces révolutionnaires? Deuxième question concernant les aides humanitaires et l'achèvement des aides. Il y a un réel problème, surtout au niveau de la frontière tuniso-libyenne. Beaucoup de ONG souffrent de ce problème de manque d'acheminement d'aide humanitaire et ils disent que les frappes de l'OTAN sont insuffisantes pour qu'on puisse acheminer ces aides humanitaires. Merci.
Pour ta première question, comme tu sais, le mandat des forces de l'OTAN et de nos partenaires est très clair. C'est la protection des civils, l'embargo sur les armes et la zone d'interdiction aérienne. Et on suit ce mandat avec beaucoup d'attention et c'est le mandat de cette mission. Pour ta deuxième question, en ce qui concerne l'acheminement des aides humanitaires, ce que peut faire l'OTAN, qui n'a pas de force sur le terrain, c'est ce qu'on appelle de deconflict. Je ne sais pas exactement quel est le terme en français, mais de faire en sorte que les aides, les convois humanitaires n'entrent pas en contradiction avec les opérations de l'OTAN mandatées par les Nations Unies. Et jusqu'à maintenant, l'OTAN a aidé à plus de 500 convois humanitaires ou d'autres aides humanitaires d'être acheminées vers la Libye. Plus de 70, que je me rappelle, pour Misrata, par le port de Misrata, et d'autres centaines partout à travers la Libye. Mike, I think we can go over to you in Naples for any other questions.
Hello, we have a question from Dr. Maurizio Dante from ANSA.
Yes, good morning. My name is Dante from ANSA. I wanted to know if NATO is in possession of information concerning a possible attack by rebel forces in the Nafusa area.
I think, we don't have people on the ground, so it's difficult to assess exactly where any fighting is going on to a specific area in advance. What we can sometimes do is, through our information reconnaissance surveillance, is to track activity that's going on at the time. So I can't actually answer exactly what is going on the ground per se. What I can say is that we've seen activity in that area over the last couple of weeks. There's continued to be fighting in the Berber and western regions and across the whole of Libya, as I discussed during that brief. But when it comes to specifics, we don't have that connectivity to give you that information.
AP?
Yes, hi, Mike. First of all, thank you for your help over these past few months. I have a couple of questions for Oana. Yeah, not for you. You're off the hook. First of all, tomorrow we have the meeting of the NAC and the Secretary General with the Transitional Council from Libya. Will they be asking the Libyan opposition delegation to engage in political negotiations with the Gaddafi regime to end the war? So that's one question. And the other is on the killing of President Karzai's brother in Afghanistan. What kind of message do you think a strike on a top government official in Afghanistan, what kind of message does that send about security in the country? Thanks.
Slobo, on your first question, the meeting with the delegation from the Transitional National Council, they will take part in an informal meeting of the North Atlantic Council, and we'll also have a short bilateral meeting with the Secretary General. As you know, NATO's mission is a military one under the two relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions 1970 and 1973. And NATO is fulfilling that mandate. NATO is not in charge of the political track. Tomorrow's meeting with officials from the Transitional National Council will be a good opportunity to hear from them about how they see the situation on the ground and how they see the way ahead, and an opportunity for NATO to explain how it's conducting, together with its partners, how it's conducting the mission to fulfill the United Nations mandate. On your second question, as you know, General Petraeus, the commander of ISAF, has issued a statement extending his condolences to President Karzai on the death of the president's brother, Ahmed Wali Karzai. General Petraeus says, my personal sympathy and condolences go out to President Karzai and his family during this extremely difficult time. President Karzai is working to create a stronger, more secure Afghanistan, and for such a tragic event to happen to someone within his own family is unfathomable. General Petraeus goes on to say, I strongly condemn the actions by anyone who played a role in this murder. ISAF will support the Afghan government in every possible way to bring to justice those involved in the murder of Ahmed Wali Karzai. So this was the message from General Petraeus. Obviously, this underlines why it is so important for ISAF to see the mission through so that Afghan families can live without the fear of such pointless and brutal violence in the future. I think these are all the questions we have for today from Brussels. If there are no more questions from Naples, thank you very much indeed to everybody.
Thank you very much indeed to everybody.